So, you want to be an it girl? Hi guys, and welcome back to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. Today I am joined by Stephanie. And Stephanie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to do this episode. I have wanted to talk about like the aesthetics world for a long time on the show, so I'm very excited. But for the audience, do you mind kind of just like giving like what you do, your credential, how did you get here?
Yeah.
Unwrap it for us.
Totally. So I'm a registered nurse, and I do mostly injections. So I do like Botox and filler, although I've been trained in like lasers and different things. But my specialty in Los Angeles is anti-aging. So mostly I focus on that realm of things. I've been doing it for like 6 years.
How'd you get into it?
Oh, got into it. I was recruited into it, which is kind of not typical.
Okay.
I was a student nurse, and the girl who was doing my injections, doing my Botox and filler, I would come to her with like different research articles of like, you can do this, 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 this. And she was like, I think you'd be good at this. Do you want to intern with me when you're done? And so like the first day out of nursing school, I started.
Wow. So you went right into that internship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Crazy. And like what in med school, like did they cover injectables? Like what's the training like there?
So I'm a registered nurse, and then so you get all different kinds, but basically in registered nurse school, you don't cover anything to do with aesthetics. When you're in med school, they don't cover really anything with aesthetics. Plastic surgery residencies are different because that's catered to that, but really any doctor, unless you specialize in that, all your training is after your license, and then it's all kind of the same. Like, so that's something that a lot of people don't know. If you go to a doctor versus a nurse, you're not necessarily getting somebody who has more knowledge or more experience than you, because they do the same training most of the time.
Yeah.
You go to the same trainers. They take the same courses, because they don't teach this stuff in med school, nursing school. It's stuff that you learn afterwards. So it's kind of doesn't really matter.
Right.
I mean, there are certainly some things that doctors have versus nurses, that a different knowledge set that I don't have. But when it comes to specifically aesthetics, it's really the same.
Wow. Crazy. So I'm going to jump like right into it. Like what is the most popular treatment area you see?
I mean, probably Botox and lip filler is probably the most popular that I get. It comes in waves. I get like different like amounts of things, but lips are super popular. Botox is really popular. Those are probably my top two. I do a bunch of other stuff, but those are the ones that I at least do like 5 or 6 a day. And
well, lips, obviously, lip filler, cheek filler, and then Botox wherever is needed.
Oh, yeah. So that's something that a lot of people don't know. People come in and they really don't know what it is that they're looking for. So there are only certain areas that you can treat with Botox and certain areas that you can treat with filler. Some overlap, some don't. It really depends on what you're trying to do. So filler, for the most part, plumps something up. So lips, you can build a jawline with it. You can build cheeks with it. Botox, really, there's a lot of misconception of what Botox is.
Go into it.
It does not fill a line. So somebody who's like, oh, I have a wrinkle, I want to fill it, and I'm going to get Botox. It's not the way that it works. All that Botox does is paralyze your dynamic muscles and prevents them from making, I'm all Botoxed here, but if somebody...
I have too, but I have it less in my forehead. It's wearing out. Like if you have a scrunched forehead.
If you have a scrunched forehead and you get what people call those 11 lines, where you have these muscles here, you're not filling the lines themselves. You're actually not even injecting really in the line. You're injecting in the muscle that's pushing together and making the line. And same with the horizontal muscle up here, you're injecting it and you're basically preventing it from contracting. It's not actually filling anything or leaving anything behind.
Right.
It's just paralyzing the muscle. So that and then there's some little like off-label things that you can do with it too, because it paralyzes other things. So it'll paralyze sweat glands. For people who are sweat a lot, you can get it under your armpits or your hands or your feet. It relaxes those sweat glands so you're not sweating as much. You know, muscles in your jaw for TMJ is really popular. Around your eyes. There's certain things you can do to lift the neck and the lower face.
All with Botox.
Yeah.
Wow. So you can do a lip flip with Botox?
Lip flip is Botox, yeah. So a lot of people who are like very scared of filler and want to look natural, that was like my gateway drug was the lip flip. It's a kind of a cool little way to see if you would like it if your lip was bigger, because it doesn't add any volume. It just relaxes the top lip, so it makes it look bigger without putting anything in it. It only lasts like 8 weeks, but it's not that expensive, and you can kind of see if you like it.
And you can
keep doing it if you do. A lot of people just come every like 10 weeks, and they're there, they're in, they're out, and then that's it. Some people end up really liking it, and then they do a little bit of filler because they're like, oh, I like the way it looks, I want to make it look bigger.
Right.
So yeah, I know. Sometimes I talk too much about it because I'm like, oh, I forget that people don't.
No, yeah, it's so interesting. Like, what are the most popular places that you feel like you inject Botox?
Popular 11 lines really bother people. Forehead is probably number one.
What about the crow's feet too?
That's number two. Okay. It's like most people are bothered by their forehead or the crow's feet, and those are really, really nice treatments that you can do with Botox. They work really well. They smooth everything out. They're preventative. They treat. It's kind of...
Ooh, yes. Let's get into preventative.
Yeah.
The talk of the freaking town is preventative Botox.
I know.
I'm like totally subscribed. But also I feel like I have, and you can even see it a little bit, like, because it's wearing off, I have a pretty expressionate forehead.
Yeah.
So I was super about, A, it just being a little more relaxed, and B, like, maybe not forming the lines.
Yeah.
That's the reason to do preventative Botox.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Preventative Botox and like baby Botox is really...
What is baby Botox?
They're nonsense terms. Like, they don't really mean anything.
Right.
Like, if you go to somebody and you're like, I want preventative Botox or I want baby Botox.
It's not like a different syringe.
No, they could be like, okay, and give you exactly the same amount if you didn't say that. It really just means, like, baby Botox usually is for my younger patients who I only do, like, not considered a full on-label dose to relax the muscles a little bit, but not fully paralyze them.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say that's baby Botox, but if it's not interchangeable, like if you went to another practitioner and you said...
They would not know what that meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they wouldn't know the same amount.
Exactly.
Like, it's not like a transferable term. Like, if I have you do it and then I move to Florida and I have somebody else do it, they're not going to know, like, that means, like, X amount in this exact spot, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
totally.
And then preventative, it's all preventative because you're just preventing those lines from forming. Even if you're treating it, you're also preventing it. So it kind of works both ways.
Now, okay, so I've subscribed to the preventative thing. I'm about it. But, like, is there, I mean, in my opinion, 18, like, that's young.
No,
okay, great.
I have a lot of patients who come to me for lips who are in their, like, late teens, early 20s, and they're, especially in LA, people are paranoid about getting old here. And they're like, I need to do preventative, do I need Botox? And I'm like, you're 21 years old.
It's different here.
Yeah, people are crazy, but I love it. But no, you don't need it, because what matters is that you do it before the lines become static lines. So...
Ooh, what's a static line?
So there's an active line and a static line. So an active line is when you're frowning, you can see those lines. Babies have active lines. Like, you can come fresh out the womb with active lines. You don't need a Botox.
You can't undo it.
Yeah. But if they... a static line means when you're now relaxing that movement, you can still see the line. It's embedded into your skin.
Right.
So you want to prevent that from happening. Although if you're like at the very early stages of that, you can still erase it and get rid of it. So I kind of like, it's the best advice I would give is just like pay attention to your skin. And when you start to see lines like sticking in your makeup when you're resting and not doing anything, then maybe that's a time to do Botox. But you don't really have to go by an age. And you know, as long as you start relatively on the younger side, when I say younger, I mean like late 20s, early 30s, even into people into their 40s, depending on their genetics.
Right.
It's fine, and they're going to get good results.
I love that. How long does Botox and fillers, like, life last?
So they're very different from each other. Botox is only going to last you about 3 to 6 months, depending on where you put it the amount you put, how strong your muscles are, how fast you break it down. It's like you can't give somebody like a full answer because it's so different for everybody. I have people that come to me and their Botox lasts them like 2 months, and no matter how much dose you do, there are people that are like, it lasts me a year, which there's no studies that support that. But hey, if it works for them, good. Good for you. You're one of the really good, the lucky people.
You.
Yeah. So I would say the average, like if you want to never move, you want to come like every 3 months to do it. But it will there'll be still something there around like 5 to 6.
Sure.
But you won't be like paralyzed anymore.
What about they're doing? How long is like filler's life?
So filler there's so much misinformation about how long filler lasts because they don't even really know. Like the companies will tell you, this filler lasts a year, this filler lasts 2 years, but they've done studies with people, and they've done MRIs, and they have filler in their faces like 11 years later.
Wow.
And they have not touched it. So that's a really tricky answer because probably some of it never goes away. Like it's like an implant in your face.
That's like good. Like you did it once.
There's good and there's bad. So, like there are certain people, they'll come to me and they'll ask me my opinions on fillers, and I'll be like, the pro is it lasts really long, and then the con is it lasts really long. So like if you don't like it, it lasts really long.
You're fucked.
But the good thing about filler is when people come to me and they do like jaws or chins, and those can take a lot of filler. Like those can take like 7,
it's a big
8,
area
10
to cover.
syringes. First of all, one syringe is the size of a blueberry. It's really small. Everyone thinks like,
I think it's like the size of my arm.
They're like, oh my God, that's way too much. I'm like, no, it's like if you squirted it out, it's the size of a blueberry. It's a quarter of a teaspoon.
Wow.
It's tiny.
That is tiny.
So you need a lot to like really build a jaw, especially in like a guy. You're going to put like 15 syringes in there. But that doesn't mean that every year or every 2 years you do 15 syringes. It's hard to say. I mean, some people break it down faster, but I would say the average person does like a quarter of what they initially do to kind of maintain it.
Right. So with filler, I saw this picture on your Instagram, and it's like some girl had come to you with like previous lip filler, and you guys dissolved it and then redid it. What's the benefits of doing that? Like, do you always need to dissolve? Like, just walk us through the whole thing.
So I'm super pro dissolving.
Before going back in.
Not necessarily every time, but if you need a cleanup, you need a cleanup. So it's like, people are very scared of dissolving. For whatever reason, different things. I think there's a lot of, fear. Stuff
Am I going to lose it?
Yeah.
I looked this way. I'm not going to look like it again. Yeah. Totally.
So I understand, but filler, so especially lip filler and tear trough filler.
Yeah.
Those are really tricky areas because the filler, your mouth and your eye, it's a muscle. It's a sphincter muscle that's kind of contracts as you talk, you eat, whatever.
Right.
So essentially you're slowly pumping that product outside of your lips, excuse me, or inside. So filler that's there for years usually isn't your lips anymore. It's somewhere else, which is why you want to clean it up as that happens. So, and that doesn't happen with everybody. It's like I said, how some people break down filler at a much faster rate. They're never going to have to do a cleanup session because their body goes through it really fast.
Right.
But the people who are the lucky ones where filler's sticking around for a long time, they're probably going to need to do a cleanup. So, if you're not sure, you can ask your injector. I always look at my patients and be like, next time you do this, we're cleaning you up first, and then...
What's the signs of, like, you need a cleanup first?
So, for the lips, a big one is you'll feel puffy on top, like you'll lose the definition in your border. You'll know. You'll see people who have that, like, lip filler look.
Yes.
When they have, like, especially if you make a kiss face and their lip goes, like, all the way up to
all the way up to the nose, yeah.
That's migrated filler above your lip. That needs to be cleaned up because not only does it look weird and gives it away that you have filler, it weighs your top lip down, so your lip actually looks smaller.
Oh, like that was not going to help the cause.
Right. It does the opposite of what they want. So they're like, I don't want to lose my lips. I'm like, they'll look bigger when we're done because your old filler's pushing it down.
We actually need that space back in your face to make it look big on your lip. Totally. How often do you feel like you're having to have the conversation with clients about, like, they want to do a choice and you kind of know it's like maybe not the most aesthetically pleasing for them. Like, how do you combat that situation by redirecting them maybe to something that would look better on them?
So, I mean, one thing that is a tricky balance with this job is not everybody has the same aesthetic preference.
Yeah.
Some people really want to look a certain way that maybe I don't necessarily agree with, but it's their choice. So I will tell, if they are suggesting something that I don't think will look good, I will just tell them that's going to make you look like this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. And if they like the way that looks, then, we can
I warned you.
Mm-hmm, yeah. If not, like, if they're like, oh, no, because some people really don't know. They're like, oh, I want lip filler. I'm like, okay, but, your chin is out of proportion, whatever, it's going to make it look smaller. And they don't realize that until you mention it.
Right.
And then they're more open to what you have to say. But some people are like, I don't care. I want giant lips that are completely out of proportion with my face. So, I'll do some people's work like that who... I have a lot of people in, like, the sex industry that come and they want, like, giant lips and stuff. And that works for them, and that's fine. Like, that's
more
what
power
they like.
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what you want. You get it.
Right.
Fine. Like, who are we to tell you no?
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know. We all can pick. You can pick out your own clothing on yourself. Why I can't tell you not to do something.
Right.
But, like, sometimes I do think I'm thinking more from the perspective of, like, I don't know any better.
Sure.
I would want you to be
Yeah,
Marley, that's going to age you the fuck up. Don't do that.
No. I'll tell people, like, that's going to look, whatever it's going to look like. That's not going to work for you. That's going to make this look worse in the long run. Most of the time, people are receptive to what I say, and they will listen. I'd say, like, 85% of the time.
Yeah, that's good.
So... it's just some people, they have an idea of what they want, and that's what they want. But yeah, I absolutely, I tell people no every single day for different fillers, whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like, adding more is not going to. A lot of people come to me, they want more lips, and I'm like, if you actually add more filler, you're going to make this weighed down and look smaller.
So we're not going to achieve the goal.
Yeah. So people don't know how things work, and so it's a lot of saying no and explaining. I talk all day long.
The more is more.
They want the more is more, but more doesn't always translate to more. So yeah, I have a million conversations a day with people about these.
God, the curb. I would be like, I'd be so awkward, but I mean, it's your job, so I'm sure you've gotten way better.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance, but most people are really receptive.
Good.
They're in a vulnerable position, and
well, my thing is, like, I'm also always thinking, I want somebody who does this all day, every day. Clearly an expert in this category. Yeah. Like, you have more knowledge about this subject. I would value that opinion over mine.
And trust is a big thing. So, like, a lot of most of my patients are regulars or referrals from people who've been seeing me for a while, because they don't know, and trusting that person is going to say no to them is key. Like, because a lot of people will not say no, and they'll just keep doing whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't want a yes woman.
Yeah, you don't.
Doing it the entire time.
Nobody wants to, like,
because then I'll just come out looking like...
Yeah, never go see a yes woman. There are people that shop around, you can tell. Like, they'll go to different people who tell them no, and they'll try to come to you, and, whatever.
Wow.
But, yeah, definitely that trusting relationship is super key.
So how often do people come in with, like, a Snapchat filter or Instagram filter and say, like, I just want to look like this in real life? Like, and is that even, like, realistic to accomplish? I feel like it's not accomplishable. Okay.
I mean, it depends. So, like, what I'll do when somebody brings me a Snapchat filter or Facetune pictures of themselves, we'll break down what it is that they like about it that their face doesn't currently have, whether it's, like, the height in the lips or... a lifted eyebrow or, like, a more defined jaw, whatever the case may be, what is that they like about it, and then what's achievable and what's not.
Right, because also, like, is your face really, like, the same face? Like, is that actually going to work in real life?
Most of the time, no. Like, you'll never fully be able to transform it unless you get, like, legit, like, facial plastic surgery where they, like... cut and they shave bones down and they're lifting up this
which is a commitment.
Lip lift, which you can do.
But
But with injectables, no. You can get closer to it, like you can move in that direction, but you're never going to achieve exactly that look.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, do people come in with like photos of celebrities and like influencers and say like, I want to look like this, and their facial structure is just
different?
It can't happen, right?
Yeah. So there's no, you're never going to look like, a lot of people show me, people's celebrities' lips or jawlines, and people have different bone structure, they have different like dentation, that makes a difference. You can't copy and paste a lip that you like onto your own, or a jawline onto your own. So the only thing that you can do is like improve what you have.
Right. So like we shouldn't even be looking outwards.
I don't mind when people bring in pictures, because I'll ask them what is it they like about it, and then we can see what we can accomplish with their own anatomy. Because some people like different looks. Like if they like something they like about the lip, if they like the lower lip's a little bit bigger, whatever, they like the jaws pointier. Like those are things that we could accomplish for them, but they won't look exactly like the picture, but we could emulate it a little bit for them.
You're not gonna be Kendall Jenner at the end of this.
No.
But like you have to break it down, which is like, hard, and I think it's a very like raw and vulnerable conversation to have with somebody about like why you like this and whatnot, which kind of like brings me to where I want to go next. Is like, I have been even like intimidated to speak about like what I want to like what I want, or what I want to say, or what I want to improve, or what I want to look at, because also my knowledge is just like, I don't know if it's accomplishable. So it's like, for somebody who's like a complete first timer, but like knows they want to improve something, but don't know the tools, like what would you recommend they bring into you?
That's a good question. There are certain things that you could do. Like you could possibly pick something on your face or in a photo of your face that you're not sure what it is, but you don't like this picture.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
And then like, I like this picture of myself, but I don't like this picture of myself. And then you can kind of find out like what is the difference between them, and then maybe work more towards the good picture.
Yes. That's such, like I have the bunny line thing when I like smile, and I hate it because it looks like I'm snarling. If you don't know what that is, it's like the little lines.
Little nose scruncher.
Right, and I hate it because it literally looks like I'm like witching or something, and like I'm a little rat on the hunt. And like I hated it, and like I always wondered what it was in photos, and like, I should totally just like take that photo and be like, no. I
don't like, photos that you don't like are helpful.
Because we're catching you in the actual movement of the muscle.
And then you can see like, we can fix that, we can do that, or that's not fixable. There are some things that it's not, we can work on something else, but that's not fixable.
Right, love that. So like for a first timer, like what's the conversation usually like in your office once they get there?
So usually I ask them if there's like a specific thing that they wanted to focus on, like if there's something that's bothering them in photos or when they look in the mirror. And that will usually kind of steer the direction towards something. Sometimes people will have an idea of what bothers them, but it's not actually what's causing what bothers them. So sometimes...
Like, does anybody just go like, can you just look at my face and like...
Yeah.
And then like, do you like say all the things or do you hold it back?
I hate that, because it's like it's so awkward. But usually I'll kind of just start with like really easy things, like a little bit of Botox or something. Like you could fix these lines, or like
gateway them.
Gateway them, Start with like little things and then see how they like it. I don't go off the bat with like a full giant list. Although some people want me to, but I'm like, let's just do little. I'm a little thing at a time kind of person. I think doing small things is it's better for the practitioner. Yeah. It's easier to manage your patient's expectations and them going through like the post-op recovery. Like if you do 100 things on somebody, they're gonna be like, what did you do to me?
It's too much too soon.
Yeah,
I felt that way when I had the nose job. Like it was so traumatic on my face.
Yeah.
Because it takes forever for the swelling to go down.
Yeah.
Like literally, it's even still swollen at the tip, I've been told.
Yeah.
And it's like freaky.
Yeah.
Like you're having an identity crisis.
Oh, totally.
So yeah, if you do way too much, but like one Botox in one spot, you're like, damn, I look good.
Yeah,
you know?
They like it. It's easier. So
yeah, much more adjustable.
I always am like a start slow kind of, even if they don't want to. I'm like, let's just start slow.
No, but that's good. You have to control the narrative because like it's such a slippery slope, and you know, like you were saying, people will end up with filler in too much place, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I totally get that some women, not always, but like we were saying, women in the sex surgery love big lips, and that's they need that for their work, and that's what they're doing, and that's fine, that's their look, but like, you know, there's too much too soon, and it's better to go slow and build.
100%.
Also, like, in time, your education as the client will like go up too, and you'll start to understand and be able to have conversations about like what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about the face, which I know is like, and like Botox and whatnot, and I know that's like your main thing, but like what other things are there for like the body and like skin out there that like people don't even naturally think of?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. Like if it's for skin tightening or like scars or stretch marks, like laser treatment is really like the place where you want to go. Like Morpheus 8 is a great laser that my work carries, and tons of places have it. It's like a microneedling radio frequency, which is really good for acne scars.
Love.
Like
I've had 4 rounds.
Oh yeah. So good. Yeah. But that's probably right now the best thing that's out there for like body tightening and skin tightening, unless you want to go the surgical route and get scarring, but or other forms of that laser. The CO2 is another one. It's like an ablative laser that takes skin off. Basically all these things are doing is creating these tiny little micro injuries in your skin and telling your skin to repair itself, because it's like, oh, something's wrong, like and it heals itself. It's like little bits of scarring, really, is what collagen is. And so it's tricking your body into making it look younger.
Oh my gosh, I'm so gonna sidebar this, but the collagen topic.
Yeah.
Do you believe like people sell collagen?
Oh, yeah.
Is that real? Is that fake?
So no, that's a great question. So anything topical is complete BS.
Okay.
Collagen is too thick of a molecule to go into your skin.
Love.
So no, there's stem cells that do work. Peptide creams and stuff that stimulate your collagen production. Yeah. But you can't, like, if somebody's like collagen cream, that isn't really going to do anything for you.
But what about collagen powder in the smoothie?
Ingestible collagen. So I used to be really on the fence with this, and I was kind of like, if you want to, it's not going to hurt you.
Right.
Or I would put people on it when they were doing things like Morpheus or Sculptra, because it's like feeding a little extra collagen there. But they've actually come out with some recent studies that do support collagen, ingestible collagen in supporting your collagen to increase.
Love.
So I'm pro taking collagen, as long as you're taking the right one, because there's some that just
aren't as good of quality and whatnot. What was the thing you just said? You were like, if you're doing something...
Sculptra.
What's that?
So Sculptra. So there's HA filler, which is what you typically think of in like the lips, the face, whatever. It's made of hyaluronic acid. And then there's a category of fillers called biostimulatory filler. And what that basically means is the product is fertilizer for like collagen in your tissues. Okay. So like, let's say it comes in like a little gel, like radius, a paste. It does stay a little bit in there, but its main purpose is to stimulate your collagen to go crazy, really, and like build a bunch of collagen. So you like build... Sculptra is a powdered form, so you mix it with a little bit of water, and then you inject it, and the water goes away, and then the powder like lays under your skin, and like fertilizer just tells your surrounding collagen receptors to go crazy and build your own collagen.
So what is like a goal that would like accomplish?
Okay, so Sculptra, it's like a fertilizer for your tissue, and why you would want it essentially is because your skin thins, and so as your skin gets thinner, you see the muscle more. So like your muscle isn't... Some older people will come to me and they're like, it doesn't really work for me as well, the Botox here. And it's not because your muscles are stronger, it's just that padding in between the muscle and your skin has gotten thinner. So you kind of want to like bulk it up. And there's different ways that you can do that. Like Sculptra is just one of them. And then there's Morpheus, different lasers. Sculptra just will bulk it up much more than a laser treatment will, but that has good and bad purposes, because obviously you don't want some big bulky thing of collagen on your forehead. Right. It'll look like a lump. But in areas where you want a little bit more volume, like your cheeks or the butt, people do the butt.
I was gonna say, is this a face thing or is it a body thing too?
Both, yeah. Okay. So this is what people will use for like the non-surgical BBL is Sculptra. yeah. Sculptra and Radius, they're both biostimulatory. So they work by just making collagen in your butt or your face.
And how long did those last?
So collagen that you build is yours. So it's, but we're always breaking down collagen. Right. So, technically I'd say you see the results for like 2 to 5 years.
That's pretty good though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It works. And it's a more natural approach than filler because it's your own tissue. So a lot of people like that. It's also less puffy than filler because HA filler sucks in water by nature. So some people that translates to more of like a puffy pillow face, like that filter with the Instagram thing where it's like huge. So hyaluronic acid, and that's another thing, too much hyaluronic acid on anybody looks terrible. So really? I tell a lot of people, like if you're over 40, like you need to be doing things that are building collagen versus just HA filler, because that's how you're going to look. You've lost too much collagen in your skin, and collagen and hyaluronic acid are not the same. You can't replace your lost collagen with HA. It will give you that pillowy look. So you want to build collagen. So that's why there's things like the lasers and the biostimulatory things that take care of that area. Okay, so we live in LA, which is like we were kind of talking about before. Like this is the place to be if you want to learn aesthetics, you want good aesthetic work. Like it's just the capital of it. But like how many people a day do you see? I probably see like 20 or 30 patients every single day. And yet still I feel like there's this old notion of like gatekeeping this 100%. Stuff. Yeah. How do you feel about the space kind of becoming a little bit more like honest about women or men even? Yeah, like we can even talk about men, how they, like you were just saying to me, you've been seeing more men recently. But like why are we still stuck in this like gatekeeping aesthetic thing? Or like we're in the in-between, I feel like. It's definitely better than what it was, and definitely better. Like I came from a really small town where I learned where like nobody wants to do anything or know that they've done things. So in LA, people are a lot more open because it's very normalized with the different, a lot of people are on camera and whatever, and they don't want to age. But it's still, people don't want to be open with it. And I don't really care if people don't want to share those things. That's their own personal choice. The only time when it hinders my job is when like people with big platforms go on record and say that they've done like only olive oil or something for my god, the Jennifer Lopez thing drives me absolute nuts. You have not done just olive oil. Like you can just say 100%. I'd help. Like thank you. Like I have I live in the public eye and I have to keep up my appearance. Like, that is fine to just own up and say you don't need to disclose everything. Olive oil, shut the fuck up. I know, it's terrible. Because then I have patients who are those celebrities same age, and they are like, well, what can I do to achieve that? And then why don't I look like this? And it's like, first of all, like Kim Kardashian probably spends hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on her looking that way. Yeah, on her looking that way. And I'm just talking about aesthetics alone. Like I'm not even talking about all her other stuff. I'm talking not about, even just the working out. I'm just talking about like lasers and injectables. And the facial probably every freaking week. And a good, easy like $400,000 a year on stuff like that. So it's not an achievable goal for most people to look like those people, even if they're doing those kinds of things. And so that makes the conversation harder because people's expectations are really so curbed. They're super skewed. Right. And I do believe that people who have like huge platforms, like we don't have to disclose every single time you did everything, but like just being honest that it took help, because I feel like the generation even like below me, like I want to be like,
oh, like, it's really, like, it's fine, like, when you're of the right age and, it, you know, it looks a certain way. And, you know, I really, like, it blows my mind that you could hypothetically do it at any age when you can't get a tattoo or piercing until you're 18.
I know.
Like, I feel like you should need parent permission.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, that's something to work out in the future. But the point is, like, hey, like, just so you know, I didn't always look this way, whatever, or, like, this started to bug me at this age and I changed it, you can too. I don't feel like that's bad. I do wonder, like, sometimes, like, are we encouraging people too young? But, like, I just feel like it's being honest. Like, at the end of the day, isn't honesty the best policy?
I mean, I think so. I'm really transparent with things that I do and what I've done with my patients and whatever. I don't care. And I think, you know, I don't want to influence somebody to go and not like something about themselves. That's not what I try to do. And sometimes people have said, or like, you know, online trolls, like, oh, you.
Oh my God.
When they're like, you.
Spill.
Yeah, they're like, you know, you profit off of people's insecurities. And I hate that because the last thing I want to do is make somebody insecure. I really like, what really brings me fulfillment in my job is helping people feel more confident and feeling better about themselves, whatever it is that bothers them, not living up to this crazy expectation. Like, it's a fine line because, you know, I have my own, you know, issues with anti-aging and wanting to look a certain way, but I don't want to put that on somebody else. But we all do. Everyone has their own thing.
Everyone has it.
So, you know, but I would never want to give anybody like a complex or feel, you know, bad about themselves. And so that's, you know, that's always a little bit of a fine line to walk.
It is a fine line to walk, but it's just like you're seeing, you said 20 to 30 a day. And it's like, yes, we recognize we live in LA, but it's just like even other places, it's like so many people do it. The numbers really are like very high.
Oh,
it's like a routine haircut to some.
For sure.
Yeah.
If people treat it like their nail appointment or whatever, it's very like normalized. Like, I'm just going to come in and get my Botox for, you know, this month, whatever, and then that's it. But it's very, very normalized. Here, at least in Los Angeles, and I'm sure like Miami and probably New York, but not as much as LA and Miami. But
New York, I feel like they're real quiet about it.
They're a lot more quiet. Like, everyone's doing it.
Right.
they're not
like,
talking
no,
about it.
we're not talking about it.
Like,
you know, see no evil, speak no evil. But it's like you're still doing it.
Right.
I feel like here though, people are like a little more okay with like the I look like I had work done look, which like that's fine. That's a look too. Like, if you like it, you like it.
Oh, there are people that are like, I want to look like I've had lip filler. Like, I want people to know that I paid for it. It's like a designer bag, whatever. They want to.
Such an interesting mentality.
There's a lot of that actually. So,
really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean, not a lot, but I have definitely a good percentage of patients that
and that's fine. But you know what you want, and you go in, and that, like, there are those patients we were talking about earlier that you're like, okay, like, I know that's the look you like. You're very clear. You're educated on this. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. You know, I do think like things are shifting in the space about, I think, people being a lot more open about the work they do get. And it's just so much more common than people think.
Oh, it's like, it's funny. A lot of my newbie patients will say, you know, I didn't realize that everybody was doing it until like I talked to my friends about it, and now they've all been getting Botox. And like now I'm late to the game or whatever, which, you know, you're not. But some people just make that personal decision for themselves and they don't share it with their friends until they ask them about it at another time. Some people are really open with their friends. Everyone has different kind of things that they like.
Right.
You know,
I agree. Depends. Yeah, I'm very curious to see how the youngest generation, like the kids that are like 12 and 13, 14 now, are they going to be like so pro it and be so educated that they're just going to knock it? I mean, look at how they're handling makeup, though.
I know, they're like geniuses. You know, I was reading that there's going to be a shift towards, on like TikTok and things, of being a little bit more kinder on the aging process, which I hope so, because people are like brutal. I don't want to make a TikTok and have somebody tell me I look like 70. Like, I don't want like some 10-year-old telling me that. But so, you know, they might even be more into embracing a more natural look. Like they said, the Kardashians are like removing their BBLs. Like, I think that the aesthetic look is going to shift into a more natural direction. So I think it'll be a little bit more subtle work. People still be doing it, but not as
right
much.
The very like done look, I feel like was super popular.
The Kylie lip look, like the 2016.
That was popular when I was a kid, or not a kid, but like a teen. So like we still have that like trickling, but like they've got like Hailey Bieber, who's like probably allegedly,
100%. I mean, allegedly, I can't say it, but like,
she's had it, and but that's kind of like their role model of it, and so things might be a little more.
I think
lax.
I think that the younger generation is going to go towards a more natural look. That's my prediction. I could, who knows?
But the thing is to achieve that natural look.
It still takes work. Yeah. But it takes better work. And looking natural is much harder to achieve than looking done. Mm-hmm. So you want to be a lot more picky with the person that you go to.
Okay, that's a great note for us to end on. Tell us about how you can tell somebody is going to give you that, like the really aesthetically done look, or somebody who's got kind of like a natural hand.
I mean, I think looking at the person is helpful, like knowing, because maybe that's not like they didn't do that work themselves, but you kind of have an idea of what they like, because natural, it literally means nothing, because
what is that? It's like us saying baby Botox. Like, what does that mean? It doesn't mean the same thing.
When people tell me they want natural looking lips, I'd say, show me a picture of what that means to you, because I started doing very, very small amounts. I'm like, I don't see a difference. And then their version of natural is giant and like blown up. And I'm like, okay, so that's what that means to you. Right. So I think, how they look is a good starting point, because you can kind of see what they like and what they don't, and then the people in the office, how they look too, because most of the time that work is done by them.
Right.
Referrals are really safe, easy ways to go. They're work online, although some people Photoshop their work.
Right, and I also feel like, I don't know if you actually did that or someone else did.
Yeah, so that's tricky. I mean, if, you want to be careful, so you can't always go off Instagram, but Instagram is a starting point, and then there's Yelp, although some people are crazy on Yelp.
Right.
Referrals are the safest. Like, you like the way your friend looks, like where did you go?
Where'd you go? Yeah.
That's where the majority of my patients come from, referrals. But yeah, I mean,
I like what you said about looking at the people in the office, because everyone loves that job because of the perks. So like they're gonna have a lot of it probably. So you can tell.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really good call.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah. Well, Steph, thank you so much for doing the podcast. This is literally like so fun to talk about. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course. Please tell everybody where we can find you, your Instagram, everything.
So I work at LA Beauty Skin Center. I'm at the Glendale location. You can check out our website, labeautyskincenter.com, or my Instagram is Nurse Stephanie P. That has all my work and how to book with me.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next Tuesday.